Well, hey friends, it's Wayne Polson here coming to you from the basement of Heartwood right next door to Frog got my throat. Well, hey friends, it's Wayne Polson coming to you from the basement of Heartwood right next door to SM Heartland. As usual, it's the same old ritual, same old routine, same old song and dance, if you know what I'm saying. Here we are though. I'm post everything at this point. I'm post knee surgery, I'm post COVID, I'm post whatever kind of other infection I had, RSV. And I'm doing pretty well, actually. I'm in suspended animation, a lot of drugs, if you know what I'm saying. So, yep, we're going to survive this somehow or another, or maybe some other way. I don't know. But, folks, I am here not to teach you anything that you don't already know. I am not an expert. I'm not a professional. I'm just a stupid novice. I mean, that's about it. I'm an amateur at everything I do. Except maybe being an amateur. I'm a professional amateur. So there you go, folks. Well, I'm not professional. I don't get paid to do. Well, sort of I do, I guess. Hey, wow. There's always a silver lining in every rain cloud. So here we are. What am I doing today? Well, folks, let me just tell you about it, all right? Susie's here, by the way. She has to go to work tonight. It's Wednesday. She works Wednesday through Tuesday, midnights. But the girl doesn't waste a minute. She doesn't waste a minute of time. She's out there weed whacking right now, doing what she loves to do. I mean, the girl is totally insane. She is the Energizer Bunny. Sue's the Q, as Moof Dog Mike likes to refer to her. She just is a nonstop weed whackaholic. I'm telling you. So, folks, she's doing well. I cannot emphasize how lucky I am. She's lucky to be alive, but I am luckier because she's still alive. I love the girl. Anyway, here we are. What am I doing? So my CS2511T. Oh, wait a minute. Hey friends, I got to show you this project that I finally got completed. Got my energy back, and this is a project I had on a back burner for a while. I think you're going to like it. I like it. It's a little bit overkill. I wanted to use a different kind of lumber, like a 2x10 instead of a 2x12, but as you can see here, it actually didn't turn out too bad. It's a saw caddy of sorts, and I can hold all four of my saws in this contraption. My top handle saw goes there, or my CS2511T goes there. There's the 355T. There's my CS400, and then there's my 572XP right there. And there's room along the sides and in the back for accessory storage. And it's held in place by these turnbuckles here, so the thing doesn't slide all around as you're moving through the jungle like that. I actually have a chain on there to slow some people down that might be a little bit handsy, if you know what I'm talking about. So there you go. Yeah, that's it. So the 572 barely fits. So the second hole that I have through here, or slot, was a plan to maybe angle my saw a little bit so I could get it in there a little bit more easily with a little bit more clearance, but it's actually fine the way it is, so we're going to leave it that way. So yep, there it is. That's it, folks. Oh, and I forgot to mention, this is actually the right size to fit either in the canine. The reason I have so much clearance here on the left and on the right is because I wanted to make it so that I could pull this thing out and put it in the back of my truck. It'll fit right in between the wheel wells. It's only 47.5 or 48.5 inches wide. So it fits in there just fine. If you guys would like some plans, I have plans for this. I drew them up so I could do this again whenever I need to. So there you go, folks. That's it. What I want to do is I want to install this Speedcut Nano kit here by Oregon. Can you all see this right here? I don't know how that's showing up on the video, but this is it. And it consists of a new sprocket, a drive sprocket, and bar and chain. I'm going to put that on. I've never done this before. Again, I'm a novice, all right? So those of you who have done it before, you can laugh at me all you want, put weird comments down there. I don't care. I really don't care at this stage of my life. So the reason I have my saw in this state right now, because you don't have to tear it down this far to do that modification, was because I had an oil leak and I was opening this case up to try to figure out where oil is actually oozing from. And I found out that what it was is I just had my control set to almost maximum, and it was hot outside and oil was just sort of siphoning right out of the system. So there you go. This pump is kind of cool. How does it work? Well, I pulled this piece out and I noticed there were threads on it. Do you see these threads right here? See those? Yeah. So these threads, you want to see them too? There you go. These threads on here They caught my attention because I thought, well, does this thread in here? Not really. But then I noticed the gear up here, and these threads mesh with that gear. Those, I know some of you are laughing at me because you already knew this, but so as your chain is rotating, or as your sprocket is rotating here, your drive sprocket is rotating, it's turning that oil pump gear in there. Do you see that thing turning? Can you see that? And then that, of course, takes oil from the oil supply tank down here, pumps it up through here, and then out this little hole, and this is where your bar will mount, and then of course this lines up with the lubrication holes in there. Let me see if I have one. Yeah. So these little holes right here will line up with that hole there and provide lubrication for the kerf and the guide links on the chain. So there you go, or I should say the drive links on the chain. So I just thought it was cool. Some of you might not know this, but this is how it works. And it's kind of cool because it's a variable speed pump. The faster you run the saw, the faster this thing pumps oil, which makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, you're moving the chain faster, you need more oil. These Japanese, I'll tell you what, they're pretty smart people. So, yep. All right, so I'm at this point where I want to put it all back together again. And so this is in place. By the way, folks, if you get torn down this far, there is a washer in here that's easy to have fall out. As you can see, it didn't want to fall out now. But there's a washer in there. Make sure that's in place. Put this thing back in. And, oh, the other thing that's kind of cool, let me show you this too. Can we see this on the camera? So this is the oil flow adjust here. Okay, this is just how much oil the system is going to dispense. So I'm going to stand up here just to prop this up. I was curious too as to how this works. And what this does, this moves somehow. Yeah. So what this does, let me do this again. Do you see how it's moving this gear in this direction, kind of laterally? And so I believe what that's doing, there must be some kind of a hole in this shaft that lines up with this oil supply line going from here all the way out through this hole. And this either closes the hole a little bit or opens it. That's my guess. Just by moving this gear back and forth like that. Pretty cool stuff. All right, enough of that. I wish I would have invented this saw. This is a cool saw, folks. I like it. Perfect in the treetops. I mean, it's lightweight. I think 5 pounds, something like that. And everybody has them now. I mean, I remember I was one of the first ones to buy these. I think I saw it in use on some YouTube channel somewhere, and I thought, you know what? I've got to find one of those and get one. So I did. I bought one. Shout out to Owens Implement, Mike, Jason, and Chris over there. Thank you for keeping me equipped with all the good stuff. All right, let's get to it. I'm rambling. So this piece needs to go in next. This goes in somehow, probably like this here. And then it snaps into place. And that's good to go. And then this guide, or this plate right here has to go in. So we're going to put that in just like this. And there is a chain guide right there. We're going to put that in place. And this screw right here. There we go. That's all good and tight. This does need to move freely, so when you drop your chain, it will do less damage. All right, if you guys notice I have a straight pipe on here, this thing has increased the horsepower of this little guy by about, I don't know, I want to say, I don't know, some small percentage anyway. It is noticeable. It's very loud though. So I'm hoping that with the combination of the increased torque and speed and this new sprocket, let me pull this out of here. So this guy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This has 7 teeth on it. The old one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so every revolution you're going to get one extra sprocket there that moves the chain, so your chain's going to spin faster. All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to take the clutch and the bearing, and I should probably lube this bearing up. Where's my grease at? It's here somewhere. It's here. Hang on, folks. I'll be right back. Wow. One thing I like about digital technology is I can speed things up as fast as I want. I just ran out to my garage and back in a split second. Amazing, isn't it? Grab some of this grease out of there and put it on the bearing. I'm just going to smear this all over this little bearing. There we go, just like that. You guys see that? Here's the bearing, greased up, right in place. All right, next thing is the sprocket. I'm going to take the new one and I'm going to put it on here. I'm trying to see what this says on here. Oh, this says made in China. Those Chinese, I'll tell you what, they're pretty sneaky folks. All right, so there we go. There's that. We're going to take this washer, stick it in here like this. I'm going to take this centrifugal clutch and we're going to put it on. And it's reverse threaded, folks, so that much I know. You don't have to be a pro to know that. And then we're going to tighten it all up. All right, and before I can actually tighten this clutch up on here, I need to make sure there's a way for me to stop the piston from moving. And I still have my my pull string on here, so it's going to kind of work against me as well. So what I've done is I've got the plug removed, and I want to find out where that, where's my screwdriver? I want to find out where that piston is. So I'm just going to set this in here, and I'm going to pull. Okay, we're right there right now. That's good. So what I want to do is I want to put this rope in here as far as I can. And you got to stand up to do this because it takes a real man. Can't do this sitting down. I actually have a different tool that I like to use for this. It has a sharp little point on the end of it, so I'm going to use that instead. There we go. All right, I think I got enough in there. So now with that rope in there, I can take my wrench and hopefully yeah, now I can tighten against the piston pressing up against the rope. There we go. Now we'll pull the rope out and we're good to go. I know I have about 2 feet of rope here. And I usually try to put about 3/4 of it in there at least, so that it makes a nice spread out sort of surface for the piston to push up against. All right, that's done. What's next? Let's get this rear cover put on. Let's see. Somehow. There we go. Got a couple of screws and a greasy screwdriver. This is a Torx 25, folks. I can't see what there they are. There's that one, and then one more. Right here. Okay, there's that one. And then the clutch cover at some point we're going to put on here after we get the bar. That's the wrong bar. Here's the bar that comes with the kit. And there's some kind of a screwdriver thing going on here. I don't know what this is. Let's see. Let's try. Strange way to hold that on there, but it's effective, I guess. All right, so I'm going to start off with this bar right side up. And those of you who don't know it, it's important if you use your chainsaw a lot or even not too often at all, it's always a good idea to rotate your bar anytime you take your chain off or do any maintenance underneath the clutch cover, because your bar does wear. And especially wears more on the side that you're cutting on most. So usually most people are in the bucking mode where they're putting a lot of pressure on the chain against this part of the bar. So this part will wear. So by flipping it over, you get to wear this part down a little bit. So there's a little tidbit of information for you. What's next? Okay, I need a chain. So here's our chain. So we'll lay that in there. Like so. Just like that. Good deal. Now, I always like to make sure that the chain tensioner is pretty loose. So it's a good idea before you try putting this cover on, because you can wrestle with it for a long time, is what I found out anyway, especially with a new chain. So I've got that turned back quite a ways so it'll line up with this hole right here. All right, so let's do that. Make sure everything's cool here. See how nice that went on now? Okay. And make sure that the chain brake lever is in this gap right here so that it will actually work when you need it to work. I'm going to go ahead and start this. And I'm not going to tighten it all the way. Finger tight's good for now because we're going to adjust that chain tension. Make sure it's running in the kerf. And here we go. And you want to adjust it so that it sucks up against the bottom of that bar, and that there's a little bit of pressure against it when you try to pull it off. Now, some people will tell you to go ahead and dip the nose down like this, which is probably not a bad idea when this is new. I don't always do this though. I kind of tighten it, my chain in stages. I'll tighten it, use it, and then see how it looks after about 5 or 10 minutes, and then readjust. So that's not bad right there. I'm going to go ahead and tighten this lock nut. And you should be able to rotate your chain with not much force, but it shouldn't just flop around on there. So there we go. It's a little bit tighter than I normally like to run it, but it will loosen up once I start this thing and get it running. All right, so the old sprocket is gone. New bar and chain is in place. How about a spark plug? And let's see, I think yeah, this scrunch will do it. Not too tight on the spark plug, folks. There's a compression washer on there for a reason, and it's just to keep the spark plug tight without having to put a bunch of torque on it. You don't want to torque your spark plug in like that. There we go, that locks in. We're good to go. I think we'll go ahead and fuel it up. Try it out. Folks, if I don't see you again after this little clip right here, it's because something weird happened to me. But I'm going to do my best to not allow that to happen. I'll be back. Actually, I'll take you with me when we try this out. I might have to do a little tuning on this now that I've got a new sprocket and a new chain and a new bar. I'm sure I'm going to have to tune the carburetor. So I'm going to go over that a little bit. So let's get out there and do it, okay? Shall we? All right. See ya. Well, folks, that's about right where I like it. Did you hear it four-stroking there when I would let up while I was in the wood? That is a good sign that you have your high jet tuned where it needs to be. If it was four-stroking the whole time, then it's too rich. You're just dumping a lot of gas into there, and you need to lean it out a little bit. And so while it's in the wood, you don't want it to four-stroke, but once you lift up out of it, take the pressure off, you'll hear it four-stroke. That's something I learned from the Tin Man, by the way. Now, the other thing is, I got to show this to you. I was having a lot of trouble because I took the limiter caps off of my carburetor. And so what I did is I wanted to make a screwdriver that sort of had a cap on the end of it that would guide me right onto the end of the high and low jet screws. And so what I did is I took a metal drinking straw like this, sawed it off, and then epoxied it in place over the end of this screwdriver, leaving the tip unepoxied. So I could stick this into the screw and it'll find the end of the screw, and all I got to do then is just turn. It eliminates that whole mess of trying to find the screw and get it engaged and all of that kind of stuff. So that's my idea. That's my little project. I'm sure these are probably abundantly available out there in the market, but this was my screwdriver. Another thing I did is I put little reference dots. There's a dot here, there are 2 dots here, and then there's of course the brand name of the screwdriver here. This is so that when I have this in position on my screw, I can immediately see a reference point so that I know how many turns or how many fractions of a turn I've gone, no matter what orientation I have this screwdriver, and I can always have a reference point on the screwdriver to use as a reference. So that's it, folks. I'm happy with the saw. She cuts like crazy. I can't wait to get it up in a tree. Now, I have not done anything to that chain. That's just a raw chain out of the box, but I like it the way it is. We're gonna leave it alone. I'm not gonna ruin a good thing. So folks, that's about all I have, I think. I don't know, I might throw some other stuff into this video. I don't know. I've got a lot of work to do. As you can hear, Susie in the background, she's mowing. We're out here in the circle over at SM Heartland, and the circle is in need of a trim, so I'm gonna go through and do that some point today. We've got some trees to take down along this drive because they're starting to mess up the ditches and the drainage, and so I've got to get those out of there. I'm not gonna do those today, but sometime soon, I hope, while I'm feeling great. You know, it's the funny thing, when you get older, you got to take advantage of the moment. You really do, folks. Don't waste your time. Don't waste anything that you have going on that's good in your life, okay? That's all I have to say for this video. I'm rambling now, as I always do, but folks, those of you who love me, you don't care. I know you don't. And I don't really care if you don't love me and you think I'm crazy and you think I should shut up. But let me just say this, folks, to all of you who hang around and put up with all this nonsense, I appreciate you all very much. Thank you so much for being a part of the channel. All of you folks who leave comments, and I miss a lot of those folks from the past that used to leave a lot of comments. I'm not sure what they're into now. Maybe I said something to offend them. I don't know. I don't think I did, but life moves. Life is a dynamic thing. Folks, again, I'm rambling. You caught me. You sure did, right there. Be kind in your neighborhood. Be kind in your families. Just be kind wherever you go. Do something for somebody you don't like. That's a good measure of how willing you are to show your kindness to the world. This world needs it desperately. I'll see you in the next video. Over and